That's better. um, about to see it too. See how it goes. First one was good. Didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, but seeing part two now. The miniseries came out when I was 6, and I believe it came out in the later part of the year. And to be honest, I think I saw it at the first time when I was like 8, maybe. I think it was like 2 years later, but I didn't like it. Even at the time, I thought it was kind of boring. The kids' scenes were pretty good, but even as an 8-year-old kid, nothing about part two of that miniseries scared me. Looking back, I can respect it for what it is, but it is definitely inferior to the film. But I knew that was going to happen right off rip. You got a neutered down story that can focus on a coming of age aspect of it, but there is no way in hell you're going to capture the writing of Stephen King in a story that is being adapted to TV. Some of his stories could. You know, The Green Mile is a good example, even though that's not a TV movie, but that kind of material would be suitable for it. Not something where you have a shape-shifting monster that's trying to chew the face off of a little teenage boy. That's kind of going in areas where TV don't like to go. So the only way this story works is in a theatrical experience, etc. So by default, the movies were going to be greater. And part one, as I said, I had a chance to see and did not get to go, unfortunately. So I wasn't going to let it happen again. So it's a 2 hour and 49-minute movie. So we got to be able to get through that. I don't mind a longer movie. In fact, I appreciate those, both for the work that it must have taken, but also because of oftentimes those films become so legendary. Point is, somebody walking by, I lost my train of thought. I guess I'd have to edit this part out. But, no. We'll see how it turns out, because a film that long, usually, as I said, it usually leads to great films, but those films also have a tendency to gain their reputation and their amazing qualities to be seen by repeat viewings. And a film can only stay in the theaters for so long. And a film like this has to have a strong viewing in the theaters. So we'll get a chance to see. As I said, this is the world premiere of it. Well, not world premiere, that was like 10 days ago. But we'll see how it goes. I won't give any spoilers. I'll do a review, of course, afterwards. Because you have to. That's the part of going to the movies. So, that said, we're going to see it. And we'll be, I'll let you know how it goes. Hoping to a good movie. And finally, an era that produces some pretty good Stephen King movies. Well, yeah, because I want to touch on that real quick. The 80s had some good Stephen King movies. Silver Bullet was okay. Maximum Overdrive was comedic, of course. But, you know, Christine was okay. You know, it wasn't a great time period for him, but it did have some absolute studs in that lineup. And then, of course, the 90s weren't too great. But in the 2000s, I mean, they finally, in the 2000s, adapted my favorite Stephen King story, Gerald's Game, into an actual movie. It didn't hit theaters, of course, but it was still a very well-made movie. And most people seem to agree with that. And this coming right on the heels of a well-respected It story, so it's only natural that it's on the ball. They want to strike before the Stephen King hysteria, or whatever you want to call it, dies down. And I think they're doing a pretty good job from the reviews I've seen. Most people say it's a good movie. Most people say it's a good movie. And so we'll see. If it's anything like the first, it'll definitely be good. See you after the movie.